Hello Internet, I'm Stephanie back with another video. And today I'm going to be addressing the issue of how do we know when we have made a choice that it is a good or right choice. Um, Now, of course, words like good and right are sometimes subjective, especially as we've been discussing as it relates to our feelings. And these are questions that only we can answer about ourselves. But I'd like to explore today different types of feedback that we might receive from people or from the environment around us when we make a decision that can help us to recognize um, whether the decisions we're making are ones that we're happy with, ones that we would make again, um, that we're on the right track with how we're making decisions or the decisions that we're making. So, feedback is in its simplest form, it's just looking for a response to the choice that we've made. It's very cause and effect. So, if I make a choice here, A or B, I'm looking for something to happen to show me that I have made the best choice or the right choice. Conversely, I'm also looking for something to happen to show me whether the choice that I've made was a bad choice or a wrong choice. I'm using these terms lightly, and you'll have to use your intuition to guide you on this. I think that my son, my 3-year-old, is a great way to set this up as a simple example because it's not about judging, it's just about noticing for yourself. So, for example, if I were to tell my son, don't touch the oven, I have it on, it's very hot, it will burn you. This is what I'm telling him. Now he has the choice to make. Am I going to touch the oven regardless of what my mom has told me? If yes, then the feedback he will receive will be a burn on his hand. Now, pain is a type of feedback. It doesn't make it a good type or a bad type necessarily. Obviously, a burn is not ideal for your body, but the pain itself is good because it's the signal to your body that what you're experiencing is not pleasant and not desirable for you. So again, that's an example of a negative form of feedback that is still good for you. And, maybe a good type of feedback would be if you blow on this stick, a bubble will come out, right? And so when he learns to blow properly on the bubble wand and he sees the bubble, the appearance of that bubble itself is feedback confirming to him that he's done the job properly. He's mastered the art of forming this bubble. And you're looking in any sense, you're looking for the feedback from your environment to reflect that the action that you've taken has made an effect, any effect, a good effect, a bad effect. It doesn't necessarily matter when what you are analyzing at this point is just the feedback from the environment. So we all do this, we all seek this. And that in itself is not wrong because, like I said, this is how we learn how our environment responds to our actions, how people respond to our actions, how our body feels about certain actions, maybe. And it's a learning tool. So, when we are looking for feedback from a decision, I would say that the most basic form of feedback then is proof. Um, when I say basic, what I mean is it doesn't take a lot of self-reflection necessarily to receive proof. It doesn't take a very high intelligence or a high level of consciousness to receive proof, right? If I tell my son, if you go outside and it's raining, you're going to get wet. It doesn't take any skill for him to jump outside and get wet and come back in. Now, that doesn't mean that being wet or getting wet in the rain is a bad thing, but now he has received the feedback to confirm that what I said was true. If you go out in the rain, you will get wet. Fine. Now I know I'm wet. It's not the end of the day. I can change. But having that information now helps him the next time he's going outside in the rain. Do I bring an umbrella? Do I wear a jacket? Do I stay inside if it's raining? It makes the choice, it's a stepping place so that the next time the same choice is presented, now he becomes aware of different possibilities, different outcomes, and different actions that he might take if he did not like the feedback he received from his first experiment. Now, the other connotation, when I say proof, I do mean to imply a little bit of skepticism, not necessarily in a bad way, and also not necessarily in a scientific way. So if you were trying to test a hypothesis as a scientist and you were looking to prove yourself right, or mostly right, but if you're looking to prove yourself right, you're already presupposing that you are right. So it's not a very scientific way to experiment, because what if you're not right? You haven't allowed for that possibility. And with proof, you can sometimes find yourself forcing outcomes or forcing pieces to fit where they don't fit if you already have a preconceived idea in your mind of the outcome that you're hoping for. So let me sort of back it up and try to give an example that we can follow along with. Now, a couple of videos ago, I talked about the choice to wear either a red sweater or a blue sweater. And in the first example, I said, yeah, I wore the red sweater. It matches my shoes. I feel good about it. And I went out and I had a normal day. Now, I thought about saying at the time, I wore the red sweater and something terrible happened, right? Because that is proof that the choice that I had made was not correct, right? And this is what I sort of want to touch on with proof, is that in a lot of cases, when we are looking for proof, we are almost, maybe not intentionally, but we are looking for pain. We're looking for suffering. We're looking for, a little zap from the shot collar of the universe, you could say, some type of strong-handed feedback that the thing that we have done was not good for us. And this is why I kind of use proof to be a lower form of feedback than some of the other types that maybe are more desirable, but potentially harder to attain because they require a greater level of consciousness and awareness and self-reflection. So the reason that I didn't say I wore the red sweater and then something bad happened is because in a lot of, or most cases, the choices that we are faced with are, I don't want to say inconsequential, but they won't necessarily have high stakes in our life. Whether I wear a red sweater or a blue sweater is not going to make or break my day in most cases, right? Now, of course, it is possible that something weird or bad could happen, but how would I know whether it was because of the choice to wear a red sweater, right? But on the other side of it is when we wore the blue sweater, we went about our day, but someone commented, oh, I really love that sweater, and it sparked a conversation that became the most interesting thing that happened to us that day. And we were able to recognize that that conversation with that person probably would not have happened other than I was wearing that blue sweater. Now, that doesn't mean that wearing the blue sweater was the right choice. It just means that by making that choice now, I open myself up to a possibility of an interaction with someone that might not have been available to me if I had not made that choice. But again, there's no way to know that for sure, because maybe if I had worn the red sweater and still run into that person, maybe they would have, found something else to say to me. If it really was a destined or fated interaction with that person, if it was meant to be, it would have been no matter what choice I made. Maybe it would have been a more painful response, let's say, as an illustration. Let's say if I'd worn the red sweater, maybe that person would have bumped into me and spilled coffee on me. And that would have been the thing that triggered the conversation with them. They would have said, oh, I'm so sorry. And, that started the conversation with that person. That would have happened either way. And the point that I'm really trying to make is when you make a decision, you do want to see that you have made a good decision. But it's very difficult, if not impossible, to quantify really each micro decision as being a good one or a bad one, because you don't know what would have happened if you had made a different choice. But there are ways to receive feedback from your environment, and this is the part where I like to still believe in something greater than myself, something outside of myself, whether it be God or fate or destiny or angels or passed on loved ones or whatever it is that resonates in that moment, even um, that provides not proof necessarily, but confirmation could be, or synchronicity. These are the other words that you'll hear a lot when in the the tarot and the spiritual community. So to give examples of those, confirmation to me, I think a good example was when I said, should I cut my hair and dye it pink? Now let's say I'd been thinking about doing that, but I hadn't told anyone, right? Then I go out and someone says to me, maybe at work, someone who knows me pretty well, they say, oh, I just saw this picture, of someone with pink hair, and I just thought you would look really good with pink hair. Now, I haven't asked them, should I dye my hair pink? I just am existing, and that idea was brought to me or confirmed to me by an outside source. And that to me, I feel, is a little bit of a higher level of feedback because it's a decision that I hadn't actually asked for advice on, right? It's something completely unprovoked. And again, when speaking to intuition and decision making, what we're really looking for is something that confirms back to us what we already know. So I already thought that was going to be a good idea, even if I hadn't told anyone. So when someone comes up to me and says that out of the blue, yeah, it kind of has that feeling of, fate, destiny, whatever it is, something bigger than myself. Now, again, though, that doesn't mean that dyeing my hair pink is, God's plan for my life, right? Because what difference does it make what color my hair is? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But if the pursuit of life is happiness, right? And if I think it's going to be fun and playful and, just something that I want to try before, I pass my whole life and I never get that opportunity. Or while I'm in between jobs, you could say, this is my chance to do that thing, right? Those confirmations can be signs of, yeah, take that chance. Or even a confirmation of, this is not such a big decision that you should be stuck on this one. Just do it. If you want to do it, then just do it, right? Now, synchronicity, I find, is an even higher level in terms of difficult to plan, to fake, to explain, and points kind of upward toward a grand design in some way. Now, let's say, let's go back to the blue and the red sweater example. I wear the blue sweater and I have this conversation with this person, and I find that to be confirmation, right? That's level 2, that not only did I look good or whatever it was in that outfit, but someone else was drawn to me and it sparked a conversation because of it. That confirms that this decision was at least more interesting, if not better, than having just worn the red sweater and having a regular day, right? But what happens if that person says to me, I never come to this coffee shop. The only reason I came here is because my favorite place was closed. I got stuck in construction. I had to walk. I stepped in a puddle. I was actually having a really crap day until I came in here. And the sweater that you're wearing reminds me of one that my grandma, who just passed away a few months ago, she had bought it for me as a gift, and I took it as a sign, that she's somewhere and she's happy and she's thinking of me and this type of stuff, right? That to me is very synchronistic. It's something where, yes, I received feedback on my own. Someone interesting came to talk to me because of the choice that I made. But then you're able to see the way that your choices connect you to other people, whether they're living people in the coffee shop or potentially even passed on people who you've never had a chance to meet. Now, did this person's deceased grandmother push me to wear this sweater? You can choose to believe that if you want or not. But at the end of the day, your wearing of that blue sweater has sparked a memory, a fond memory, right, in another person, and it might have been a turning point in the day for them, or it might have been something for them that you cannot explain. And so when you're dealing with feedback from your decisions, Proof, I find, is the most simplistic. It's the most self-serving at times too. And it can be the most self-destructive even, because again, you're looking for something to confirm that your decision was bad. That presupposes a lack of confidence in your own decision making. If you're always saying, prove it to me, right? You're putting the power back into the power seat of something other than yourself to tell you whether your choice was right or wrong. And that's just a stressful way to live if you're always looking for something or someone to prove your own decisions to you. Sometimes it will happen, sometimes it won't, sometimes it's random, and sometimes you don't know for sure whether the thing that happened, good or bad, is directly related to what you've done, which is why looking for proof for things is not my favorite way of making decisions or looking for feedback from my decisions. It kind of goes back to the chart of asking, do they feel this way, or do they think I should, or will I win $1 million? And those types of questions that it's just less accurate. And the proof in itself presupposes a lack of faith for some people, or just a lack of self-confidence, right? When you are seeking proof too, that's the thing, is you're usually looking for proof. With confirmation and synchronicity, these things find you whether you're looking for them or not. So so that's another way to show that it's not a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's not being based in your own insecurity or your own projection or your own expectations or your own limiting beliefs. You can't cause other people to tell you things that you already know just by showing up somewhere, right? But in the grand design of the universe, hang on, my kid hurt himself on a tool.